It's about time this happened. Leafs GM Brad Treliving speaks out on the criticism that Mitch Marner has been getting all offseason. Plus, NHL insider Eliotte Friedman talks about Matthew Knies and how big of a piece he is going to be for the Toronto Maple Leafs heading into this season and throughout the coming years. And we're going to break all this stuff down, plus much more, coming up on this episode of Hat Trick HQ. But before we get into it, we got to say that 70% of you guys watching these videos aren't subscribed to the channel, so if you want to stay up to date on everything that's happening heading into this season, make sure you go down below and hit that subscribe button. But with that said, let's just jump right into the first topic of the video. Before we get into the Leaf stuff, we do got to touch on the Habs here first. Reinbacher too missed a lot of time, and yes, yesterday we did a video discussing Patrik Laine and how long he was going to be out. As of yesterday, it was 4 to 6 months, but it was revealed today that it will be 2 to 3. Thank God. We won't be out with, we won't miss Laine for the long term like we expected yesterday. But the whole topic of this is about Reinbacher. We didn't know a timetable on him yesterday, but unfortunately today we heard some news on him. And from the Montreal Canadiens themselves, obviously this is concrete. It says defenseman David Reinbacher underwent surgery on his left knee this morning. His rehabilitation period is expected to be from 5 to 6 months. And yes, that is just devastating for this kid, devastating for the Montreal Canadiens in general, because obviously David Reinbacher is one of their top prospects right now, up there with the Demidovs, with the Lane Hudsons. This is a guy who they picked in the first round, not this draft, but the one in 2023. And he was showing a lot of promise. He's looking to be like one of the great defensive defensemen coming up on the right side for the Montreal Canadiens. Looking to be him and Lane Hudson, the pairing of the future for this Habs team. And now hearing that so early into his career, was he like 19, 20 years old, that he's going to miss some time. Nobody really knew what happened to him that game. If he tweaked it differently, he wasn't hit or something like that, but it just sucks to see him go off with a 5 to 6 months injury, especially being so young, especially in a year where he could have potentially cracked this Habs roster throughout the season after having spent some good time down in Laval. But we gotta send our best wishes out to David Reinbacher. Unfortunately, 5 to 6 months is the timetable, but hopefully he can have a speedy recovery and get back out there on the ice soon. If we don't see him with the Habs this season, hopefully we do get to see him next season. But with that said, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on the David Reinbacher timetable down below in the comments section. We're going to get into the second topic, which is Knies extension coming. And yes, this is something that we've talked about here on the channel for quite some time now. When will we see Matthew Knies finally signed that extension coming off his entry-level deal here in Toronto? Eliotte Friedman actually took out on his 32 Thoughts podcast and talked about Matthew Knies and how big of a piece he is for the Toronto Maple Leafs. This is what he said. He said, "I'm wondering if they're going to sign him. I think Knies is on the precipice of being a really long-term important piece for the Toronto Maple Leafs." He also says he's heading into the last year of his ELC, like I mentioned, and he also said, "I think there have been some conversations. We don't know where they are right now." He said, "I don't know how much or in depth they've really talked about it, but there's definitely been some rumors that there have been some conversations." And of course, when you got a young guy like Matthew Knies, who is coming off his entry-level deal, you're obviously going to have those conversations. But like Eliotte Friedman says here, you don't know how in-depth they've gone into these signings so far, because they still need to get Tavares. They still need to get Marner. There's other things on the table to do before signing Matthew Knies. But not to push or brush Matthew Knies away, because he is a tremendous player for this Toronto Maple Leafs team. We see him supporting that assistant captain patch during the preseason. So this just shows how much of a leader he is in the locker room as such a young guy here. And it just shows how much trust this organization and the new head coach Craig Berube have in Matthew Knies to even put him in that role of being an assistant captain, even if it's only in the preseason. But I have to agree with Elliott Friedman here. I think that he is going to be a key piece for this Toronto Maple Leafs team going forward, and I think he's only getting better and better every year. I expect this year we're going to see a lot out of Matthew Knies. Whenever you're playing up on the top line with top stars like William Nylander, Mitch Marner, or Austin Matthews, where he's been slated a lot of the time, you're going to play well. If you're playing with top guys, you're going to play well. But I think we've seen at times Matthew Knies be on that third line and just be a dog, getting those corners, win those puck battles, get in front of the net, try for a tip, because this is the type of player he is. He's more of like I would say, power forward type guy, but he's very good at it, and he's very good he knows how to play the game, and he's very good at playing the game his way. And I'm really excited for Matthew Knies because I think this guy has a tremendous future in front of him. I just hope that the Toronto Maple Leafs can lock him up long term because he's going to be a key piece to their success moving forward. But hopefully we will get an update on this very soon. If he does sign an extension during this season, it would be great to see that, but I don't expect it to be till after the big numbers like Marner and Tavares are out of the way. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you think a good number for Matthew Knies is? Let me know down below. We're going to get into the main topic of the video today, which is Treliving speaks on Marner's criticism. And yes, of course, all summer we've been talking. You guys in the comment section have been bashing Marner. Everybody has been bashing Marner. The media, everybody has had their critiques on Mitch Marner throughout that last playoffs. And today we finally, about time, we finally got a comment on this from Brad Treliving, where he went on to Spit and Chicklets podcast, out of all places, to distribute this important information. I love that podcast. Shout out to Biz and Wit and the boys over at Spit and Chicklets. But we're just going to get into it here now. As Brad Treliving said, I'm always going to support my players. I thought he took far too much criticism. We are fortunate to have Mitch. We get to see him every day. He is a star. There are not many guys who are over a point per game player. He's pushing 100 points. He is a Selke Trophy finalist. He kills penalties. He loves being a Maple Leaf. He cares so much that he wears it. So obviously, Brad Treliving going to bat for Mitch Marner here, saying, hey, you guys shouldn't be criticizing him as much as you have been, because Mitch Marner has been a Maple Leaf. He has been a guy who bleeds blue, who dies for the Crests, and he's been doing a great job at it by being almost a point per game player. I would suspect Mitch Marner is going to be over 100 points this season, even though he hasn't quite hit it in his career, getting that daunting 99. But I do think this season, in a contract year, Mitch Marner will succeed, and having all that criticism, having that extra weight on your shoulders, and extra chip to want to succeed and want to do good for the city of Toronto, I think this is going to help him push him into an extra gear here and just go out and be a dominant player. And I can't wait to see it, because I think we're going to see a fantastic year out of Mitch Marner here in Toronto. And hearing these words from Brad Treliving, it's great that he goes to bat for his player, but I mean, if you read a little bit in depth to this too, it kind of seems like Brad Treliving thinks Mitch Marner is a guy that's worth keeping around. So when the contract talks come up, maybe the checkbook comes out and he gets a little bit of extra money here, especially if he goes into this season playing phenomenal hockey at over a point per game, as we had known to expect from Mitch Marner. And obviously he does touch on him being a great defensive forward as well. So I think we will see this extension signed. It seems like Treliving wants to keep this guy around, but it's about time that someone from the Maple Leafs, higher ups, came out and defended Mitch Marner, because he definitely deserved it. He definitely doesn't deserved all of that criticism that he got. I think he's a great player. Everybody has an off playoffs. There's a number of great players of all time who, haven't had a great playoffs. So I think he's going to have that extra chip on his shoulder to come out, play good this season, and I'm really excited to see Mitch Marner get back out there during the regular season. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this down below in the comment section. What do you think about these comments that Treliving said? What do you think? Do you think this adds more value to his contract extension? Do you think that this means, hey, we're going to sign him and not trade him at the deadline now? Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. We're going to get everybody's favorite topic here, which is comment of the day. And the comment of the day today goes to Matthew. Matthew says, Montreal will still be a much better team than last year's, I believe. I have to agree with you here, Matthew. Shout out to you for showing your support here on the channel. But I do think Montreal, obviously, they're getting a bit old. Well, not getting a bit older, but their young players are getting a year older here now, which means an extra year of development in their games. And I think we are going to see a great year for Montreal here. Obviously, now with Patrick Laine out, it kind of sucks because I thought this guy was going to be the savior for the Habs, but now we see, Caulfield's a year older, Suzuki, we have Slavkovsky, there's so much great young talent, Elaine Hudson, who hopefully makes this roster going into this season, and there's so many guys like Kirby Dach we didn't get to see a lot last season, Alex Newhook, a guy who came in and played well. I think this team is going to be a really fun team to watch, so I suspect them to compete with the top two, or with the top 4 teams in the Atlantic. Not quite yet, but I think they could surprise a lot of people. I don't think they're going to be last in the Atlantic this year, but I appreciate the comment, Matthew. If you guys want to be featured on the next comment of the day, make sure to go down below and leave a comment. Also, subscribe to the channel while you're down there. We're on the road for 5,000 subscribers before the start of the season. So if you're not subscribed already, make sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button. Also, leave a like on the video. It helps push these videos out to all the NHL fans on YouTube. And if you want to check out a video we did talking more in depth about Laine yesterday, it'll be popping up on your screen right now. But as always, I'm your host, KC. Keep your stick on the ice.